Live here at Citizen Television, talking to my old friend, Cabinet Secretary for Defense, Aden Duale. He was a politician for 15 years. Now he's switched gears. He's sitting in an office somewhere. He must be bored to tears. But he says no, he's loving his new job. You're enjoying your new job, huh?
Yeah.
It's a good challenge.
Yes.
Look, we're talking about DRC before the break, right? And there are some critics who say DRC could end up being Kenya's Afghanistan, in other words, the graveyard of our troops. Are you worried about that?
No, I think I want to ask the people of Kenya, don't be very pessimistic, you know. Let's have the belief that the Kenyan Defense Forces Battalion, which is seen as a very neutral force in DRC, will do a good job, and our sons and daughters will come back home. Yes. M23
is allied to Rwanda. Rwanda is a friend of Kenya.
Yes.
What if Rwanda gets upset?
No, that's why I told you, number one, we are not going there as KDF. We are going there as East Africa Regional Force. A decision that was taken by all the heads of state and government of the East African community, including President Kagame. Secondly, before even our troops left, we have done all the diplomatic shuttle. We have CDF meetings of the region. General Kibochi, a very able and competent officer, went, met his counterpart. Our president did the beat. Our current president did the beat. And in fact, our equipment and part of our troops are passing through Uganda and Rwanda. M23, you know the history of M23. They are mainly composed of the Tutsi. Tutsi of DRC, because they live in DRC. And I think the Rwandan government, even the two battalions that they are contributing in the arrangement, they will be at the border between DRC and Rwanda, just to make sure that they protect their national security interests. So Rwanda's main interest in DRC is basically national security interests. But you know, there are a number of extremist groups opposed to the various governments, not only Rwanda, even Uganda. So I think at one stage, the East African community states must take the bullet, deal with extremist and negative forces within DRC, and bring that country to order.
Yeah.
I mean, the UN has been there for 12 years. The UN forces, I mean, from where? From South Africa, Tanzania, and you have seen a number of demonstrations even against the UN forces. So, but ultimately, I think is a concern. The principle here is that there's a concern that the situation in DRC is getting out of hand, and the East African community and other allies must come to the table and fix the problem.
Yeah, Waziri, maybe
it's leaking.
Absolutely, Waziri, but maybe there are forces out there who believe the more chaos there is, the better it is for them to capitalize on what's there.
Every conflict, whether it's in Afghanistan, whether it's in Somalia, whether it's in DRC, whether it's in South Sudan, every conflict, there are those who perpetuate it to gain either their economic or political interests. So you can't rule out. I mean, DRC is a very rich country in terms of minerals and other resources. You can't rule it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's come back to Somalia. You said we've been there since what? Operation Linda Inji was 2011.
Yes.
2011.
Yes.
And since then, I mean, any plans to withdraw, by the way, anytime soon?
You know, number one, we are in Somalia alongside other forces from Uganda, Djibouti, Burundi, and name them. The US and other partners have bases in Somalia. the Turkish are there. But for Kenya, why we went to Somalia was because of our national security interests, number one. And number two, it's just like DRC Congo, to stabilize and help the fragile states in Somalia to build their army, to build their security infrastructure. And we are more than willing. We really want the problem of Somalia to be resolved. We really want a stable Somalia. Somalia, we share close to about 800 kilometers of porous border. So it's in the interest of the national security of our country. So our forces, part of them are on our side of the border. The other side are in Somalia. Our objective was, like all the other forces, under AMISOM and now under ATMIS, we are there under the UN Security Council resolution. So there is a new resolution that beginning December, there will be a troop cut down based on the numbers. So Uganda will have to cut down part of its troops as we shall come down. And that now set the stage for the withdrawal, ultimate withdrawal of our forces. On the flip side, yes, to make sure that the Somali federal government build, which they are doing, their national army and all other segments of the security agencies. So we are there for an objective.
Yeah.
The moment the infrastructure of extremist group Al-Shabaab is degraded, we have no business. Not only us, everybody in Somalia is tired and he has no business.
But in the meantime, look what they did during our time in Somalia. Garissa University,
yes.
Mpeketoni,
Westgate,
Dusit. I mean, some of the worst attacks happened while our troops were still trying to guard our borders. They
did 3 weeks ago. I mean, one of the most heinous acts in Mogadishu, in a marketplace like Gikomba, where the poor of the poor do the hustlers of Mogadishu. So I think not only Somalia and Kenya, the world is facing serious threat of global terrorism, and I think we must come together and jointly fight. Whether it's in DRC, now they are in the extremist forces in Mozambique.
Yeah.
They might be in DRC Congo. So these are new phenomena that the world must live with. So particularly in the Horn of Africa, we must come together and we must say no. And for the first time, I'm very happy. The current administration in Somalia under President Hassan Sheikh, at least he has now come out clearly. There's a political will. He's telling his citizens to take up arms. He's telling his citizens not to pay taxes to the Al-Shabaab. And he's telling his security forces that we must eradicate. So for the first time, there's a goodwill now from Somalia. Yeah. They're being pushed out. Mm. Yes.
The U.S. called the president.
For the first time, they're under pressure. They used to be the aggressor, so they're under pressure. Mm. And I think the international community must thank the current administration in Somalia.
The U.S. issued a press conference, a rare press conference yesterday,
yes,
saying that there's a bounty for 3 Al-Shabaab leaders, a bounty of $1.2 billion per leader, meaning $3.6 billion. I mean, I don't want to raise alarm here, but it seems like these people may have slipped through and may be here already.
No. The person who did that, the press conference, was the U.S. The U.S. Somalia ambassador. I don't know why he did it from Nairobi. He should have done it from Mogadishu. Mm. But our intelligence, working together with other intelligence agencies globally, we are on top of everything. Our country externally is very safe. And I think the huge investment the previous administration has made in the intelligence infrastructure is really helping. The war against these extremist forces can only be won if we have specific, adequate, and timely intelligence. And secondly, where the communities are involved.
Yeah.
You know, community involvement in the war against terror is very, very important. And for the first time, I think, here and in Somalia and in Ethiopia and everywhere, the intelligence agencies are using the communities to be part of the war against terror. Yes.
So you can tell our viewers tonight, we are safe right now?
No, we are safe. We are safe. And as we are approaching the Christmas and the New Year festivity, I think I was in a function today in State House, and the Inspector General of Police has confirmed that from the 10th of December, he is recalling all his officers who are on leave to be part of maintaining law and order in our country. Yes.
Let's talk about the military and civilian places. For example, KDF at KMC taking over.
Yes.
Your thoughts? You own a livestock.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I mean, I am now in problems. I mean, my feedlot in Garissa is out of stock for the last 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah, because
of the drought.
Because of the drought. I mean, the bulls are not coming to the market. I used to buy the bulls and then fatten them for about 2-3 months. Now my farm is empty, and I only now keep the orderly breed, so which I'm feeding them commercially. I think the previous administration did so many things which were against the law. Let me start it there. They posted many CID officers in national government institutions, in KRA, in many places. You found again the military taking over a number of national and county functions. An example like the NMS. Somebody can look at the NMS from in terms of delivery. Yes, the military are very efficient. They're disciplined. There's no corruption there, and they deliver on time, real time. But what is the place of the military in the Constitution? The place of the military in the Constitution is threefold: to protect the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the nation, to assist in disasters in civilian areas, like what has happened. I'm sure we are in Kasarani.
Yes.
And thirdly, when called upon to assist other security agents like the police in times of conflict, tribal conflict and insecurity, like what's happening in Turkana and Chiati. Those are the three main functions. And then their corporate responsibility of doing boreholes and doing schools and free medical camps. So every administration has its own way of doing things. So President Uhuru Kenyatta, former president, felt it. I can one morning give us the men in uniform to leave the barrack and take over a function of Nairobi County called NMS. Notwithstanding whether the governor has done his job or not.
But General Badi did a good job.
He did a good job, but the court said NMS was unconstitutional. So what guides how we run this country is the Constitution and the relevant laws. So nobody, the moment you violate the Constitution, whether the end product is good or bad is not the issue. The issue is you must comply. And that's why the president and ministers and members of parliament and governors take an oath of office. And I really want people, once they take the oath of office, I want them to read and internalize. What does it say? So if you ask me as a former ranking member and legislature, all those things that the former president did, including KMC, was unconstitutional. Right now, the new executive order has returned everybody to his place in accordance with the law and the Constitution. So KMC now is under the Ministry of Livestock. So I've asked Minister Linturi that you have got 1 month either to say that, and he says, and I agree, that they're doing very well. KMC, you know, the military is a recipient of the products, of the meat and the corned beef.
Yeah.
So KMC can be a parastatal. There are a number of parastatals. Kenya Shipyard is a parastatal within the Ministry of Defense. So KMC is not like NMS. NMS was a county function, you know. But KMC can still be under the Kenya Defense Forces or the Ministry of Defense. But for now, in the new executive order, number 1 of President William Ruto, it's been taken to the Ministry of Livestock. If, in the opinion of the Livestock Minister, Agriculture and Livestock Minister, and the President, they see they've done a good job, let it be at Kenya Defense Forces, we have our officers there, and they've done a very good job.
They've done a very good job.
Their modernization, the capacity, they're exporting meat, they are...
Let it be. If it's,
you should go and do a story.
A story, right?
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right, Wazir, we're going to take another quick break, come back. A lot of feedback from our viewers. A lot of feedback. We're going to read that.
Yeah.
You know, they're
but they should know that now I'm not the leader of majority. I am the defense minister. So
like that title.
So I will choose
the questions.
The questions. Some of them can be classified. So I need someone to declassify them.
There you go. Yes. Defense, yes. Aden Duale is my guest today, folks. Get those tweets coming at Koinanga Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag.